Hello, my name is Emily, as you may or may not know, and, well, I asked you guys to send me in your worst down bad moments, aka moments that you've embarrassed yourself for a crush or someone that you liked, just a moment where you severely lacked self-respect. And trust and believe we've all been there. People always say that having a crush is one of the most humbling experiences that there is, and well, I concur, right? Why am I teetering back and forth on the edge of my building because you didn't look at my story? You're pretending to like their favorite food, which is mac and cheese, and you're lactose intolerant, and you get real flexible with it. You bend on over and say to your own butthole, hey, listen, I don't know what to tell you. You're finding them on LinkedIn, seeing what volunteer experience they had in high school, even though they haven't maintained eye contact with you for more than 20 seconds. Making them a playlist that says future wedding on the Italian coast vibes and accidentally sending them the link. So romantic, a link, right? No boom boxes, no mixtapes in this generation, no CDs here. No CDs here. No CDs here. That reminds me, this video is brought to you by NOCD. Have you ever had a recurring or unwanted thought that you were just not able to shake? Okay, maybe it's a concern about your health, maybe it's a fear that something bad is going to happen to someone that you love, or it's just a disturbing image that keeps replaying and replaying in your mind. If you've ever dealt with thoughts like these, you might have tried physical or mental behaviors that you thought were going to get rid of the anxiety, but in reality, they just exhausted and consumed you and kept you from doing the things that you love. These experiences could actually be signs of obsessive compulsive disorder or OCD. But it's common for people to overlook them, dismiss them, or think that they are the only ones dealing with them because OCD is so misunderstood. The truth is, OCD is serious, and if you're struggling with it, you are not alone. OCD affects many viewers and millions of people around the world. But with the right kind of therapy, it is highly treatable, and that's where NOCD comes in. NOCD offers virtual therapy for OCD with licensed therapists who specialize in OCD so they know how to help. Every NOCD therapist is trained in exposure and response prevention, or ERP. It's a type of therapy that is specifically designed for OCD. It's considered the gold standard treatment. NOCD also accepts many major insurance plans and offers always-on support in between calls. To learn more about therapy with NOCD, go to nocd.com to schedule a free 15-minute call with their team. That's nocd.com to learn more and book a free 15-minute call. And thank you to NOCD for sponsoring today's video. Anyways, before we get into your guys' story, I was like, okay, I should share one of mine, right? You know, just to level out the playing field a little bit. When I was in college, I was being, and listen, honey, we were 19. I'm sure that you navigate your relationships a little bit different now. Hey, it's on me too. I should have just left. Anyways, snap maps? Oh no. Yeah, I would be running that shit like the Navy. I would literally, like, I could just, you know how, this is gonna be such a niche reference, but for my Twice fans, any once in the comments, you know how Thyun can just find the camera? That was me with this woman's Bitmoji, right? I would open sat maps right away. Boom! It was almost like, you know how it was like a superhero that has laser beams, but my beams would be going directly to this Bitmoji on the snap map. And there was this one night that I was feeling particularly, I don't want to say crazy. I was feeling particularly, I had a sense of inquiry, okay? Let's just say that. And I saw that she was at this study building, and it was like 10 p.m., right? And I don't know what possessed me. It's literally just the energy and the evil spirit of situationship at 19 that possessed me. I got up out of my comfortable bed, put on cute clothes, and went to this study building that she was at. I didn't have shit to do there except wander, right? Talk about my sense of wanderlust. I went in there just loitering, perusing, looking for her, basically. And then it's like, what was I gonna say? I didn't even have my fucking backpack. Like, I guess I could have been printing something. I don't know what was going through my mind. I guess that I just wanted to run into her and just kind of be like, oh, it's funny seeing you here, because she probably didn't text me back for a couple of days or something. But yeah, so I guess, my down bad moment is that I was a stalker. I'm just like, if I saw her, what would I have done or said? right? Like, oh, funny seeing you here. Meanwhile, I have Snapchat's equivalent of a GPS on my phone. Her Bitmoji blown the f up. Also, shout out to you guys because y'all put your whole p.ussy into, I posted this, the form, right? The last time that I checked it, it had like 3,100 responses or something like that. So apologies if I don't get to your response. Statistically speaking, I didn't. But for those of you whose stories that I am gonna read, you can just feel that much more honored. Yeah, 3,478 responses. So I have enough ammo in here for at least 100 videos. Anyways, okay, the first down bad moment. When I wanted my ex back so badly, I spat on my hand and put it behind my ear and said his name 5 times because I saw a TikTok about it. It didn't work. See, sometimes when you have a crush, it's the epitome of desperate times call for desperate measures. Also, wait, this isn't really a crush, this is an ex, and that's so much worse. Oh God. Going through a breakup makes you feel like your intestines are trying to crawl out of your throat. Okay, it makes you feel like you need to be institutionalized. And I've already told the story before. After one of my breakups, I did end up going to the hospital. What can I say? I'm a lover. When you're going through a breakup, it'll have you okay, no judgment to you, my dear, my love, but I probably wouldn't fall for, those TikTok things, but I can totally understand and see how, where it's like, if a TikTok witch is saying like, if you do X, Y, and Z, he'll want you back, or she will want you back, I might consider it. Now, all of a sudden, I'm wiping I'm collecting my sweat and putting it into a vial and shaking it up with paprika because, your fairy flower witch 17 told me to. I just wonder how many people have done these sort of like TikTok, like, it's more than just a repost this and he'll text you back in the next 2 hours. It's like collect all your toenails for the next 2 months and build a house of cards with it. Okay, here's another one sort of about like manifesting and things like that. So I may or may not have spent countless nights listening to manifesting love music because I was desperate at the time and saw everyone saying that it worked for them. They might have been lying, my sweet. It didn't work for me. I even tried those freaking love spells from TikTok, and I was down bad for that man. So none of the shit worked, and it sent me down a spiral of hatred and angst, and now I still don't know if I'm over him. I see. Here's the thing with me. I'm kind of like, if I have to cast a spell on you and, sort of get resources from some sort of otherworldly realm so that you'll like me back, I just don't know if I want that, I don't know if it's worth it. I want you to want me on your own volition, right? Not because I, chopped off a rat's tail and, stirred salt water with it that I had to use as eye drops in the morning for, every full moon for the next 6 months. And these people saying that it worked for them, I want to have a conversation. I want to have a conversation with them. And I wonder if it's any sort of placebo effect or something like that, where maybe it's something like when you cast the spell, you're like, oh, I got it in the bag now. And then the next time you see them, you're having that thought in your mind where it's like, well, the other night I, mixed a bottle of my tears with my piss and, shook it all up with some, put it on the rocks or whatever it is that you had to do. So I know that you're mine now. And perhaps it's that confidence that attracts them. But the good news is that you're not alone. I'm sure that TikTok love spells don't work for many people. Okay, next one. I was 12 and deeply in love with this guy. I'm a lesbian now. I forced myself to be deeply in love. And he was thankfully the same age, but he was so edgy. He made me draw Satan. Oh, wow. He made me draw Satan all the time, but I was 12 and only drew those kawaii drawings that are like drinks. And I draw kawaii pentagrams and kawaii Satan for him. Oh my God. You were drawing Lucifer going, yeah, it's me, son, yeah. Your depiction of Satan is him being like, hey guys, I know that you might really like sinning, and if you want to, you can join me down here. Anyone in the mood for some lust or gluttony? Just me. Yada yada yada. Hey, Eve, don't mean to bother you, but doesn't this apple look oishi oishi? Don't listen to God. He's such a baka baka baka. Wow. Wow. And arigato gozaimasu for that. Oh my god. Arigato 감사합니다. Muchas gracias for that. I'm truly moved by that. Truly moved. On to the next. Said I'll go with him to the beach to look for hot women. I am bi, so technically it's not that bad, but he was so excited and I would have done everything to spend more time with him. Totally. Totally. If there's one thing that can bring all of us together, it's objectifying women. Oh my god, I mean, it's one of America's favorite pastimes. Not even just America. I'm talking globally. I would even go as far as to say intergalactically. I have no idea about the UFOs or the other species that are out there, but I'm sure they're objectifying women. And if they aren't objectifying their women, they might be objectifying our women, you know, when they're sort of monitoring us, because I am assuming that they're a lot more intelligent than us, and so they might be, you know, thinking to themselves, you know, I know that this isn't in our galaxy, but I heard Sydney Sweeney is selling her bathwater. Don't know how much the shipping would be for that, but I am interested. And this is interesting to me because I think that the guy is like, oh my gosh, you know, we have so much in common. I love to look at hot women as well. Date idea? And you know, the whole thing with like guys being like, oh, I want a bisexual woman so that, you know, we can have a threesome. And, but it has to be with a girl though. And it's like, yeah, there's the aspect, you know, from a man's perspective of bisexual women, it's just like kind of hot because it's like, ooh, you know, there's a sprinkle of lesbian in there, and that's in my Pornhub history. I might enjoy that in the flesh as well, in the flesh as well. But then there's also a little bit of the broism, right? You have almost a fast pass to being, you know, the cool one of the boys' girlfriend, right? Because it's like, yeah, you think that she has a fat ass? I saw it first. Also concerns me, it says he was so excited. So excited. Oh my god. Also, sorry I keep itching. I have a bug bite here. Someone asked me if this was a hickey. I was like, don't you think I would be a little bit more strategic with the placement, right? As if I'm the one doing it. I guess this is one... Guys, the wasps are inside. I'm getting bit the fuck up. Anyway. I think that it would be one thing if this is just a crush, right? Which maybe it is. However, if this was a date, it's sort of like, shouldn't we hit the main ones first? Like dinner, movie, a walk in the park before we get to like, you know, zooming in on women's big old knockers. But yeah, I hope you get over him, or I hope that maybe he gets a little, maybe less gross. Next one. I created a chai bot, an AI bot. I created character AI. That's what that is, right? Whatever. I created an AI bot for him after he committed. Committed to what? Wait, committed sewer of the side? Oh no, that's not, whoa, sorry. That sounded so sarcastic. Oh, you lost a loved one? Oh no. I mean, people grieve differently. Is committed? I'm sorry. Hello, Mother Emily. Okay, so about a year and a half ago now, I had this hallway crush. Hallway because I had not a single class with this guy. He was low-key really chopped. Amazing. But I was blinded by my love for low-key ugly guys. Basically, I was so in love with him that I learned his entire schedule. Purposely would bump shoulders with him and take pictures with my friends at an angle with him in the background. I see. So it says all that crazy shiz all that crazy shiz. But I'm going to go ahead and say all of that crazy shit, right? Because why are we talking about shiz here? I'm not Alphaba. Eventually, my friends and I stalked him to the point where I knew the names of his family member and where he lived. Yeah, it was really bad. But one day, since I wasn't brave enough to, I had one of my friends ask if he would ever be interested in me. And he said, no, but I was pretty. Not my best moments, but it is what it is. Okay, he said that you were pretty. I would say that's like, I would be 65% happy with that, I think. So yeah, this is the sort of thing I was talking about in the beginning, where when you have a crush, it is sort of like a part-time job as a private investigator as well. You're saying that you stalked him to the point where you knew the names of his family members and where he lived. Right. I mean, I guess depending on what you did with that information, if it was just, it's just sort of something where it's like, I'm just keeping this for future reference, maybe that's not so bad. However, if you start showing up to his house and knocking on the door, making yourself at home saying, oh, Maria, so good to see you. Meanwhile, she's thinking, who the fuck is this? I guess it's honestly not that hard to figure out, okay, where someone lives. Maybe you got to put a little elbow grease into that. But finding out people's family members, honestly, with Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that nowadays, it's honestly, that's not even private investigator work. That's literally just browsing. But okay, I hope that you moved on from this person and, you know, you can kind of do away with his, you know, social security and his blood type and all of that. Okay, next one. So one time I found a guy I likes Instagram via a friend of a friend. For reference, he graduated when I was a sophomore, so last year. And then I went to his account 14 times in one day and saved his photos in my camera roll and found his birthday and the ethnicities of both his parents and the artists he listens to and the names of his past 2 girlfriends. Anyway, I hesitantly followed him only for him not to follow back for months. So then I unfollowed him. But then after all that, a few months go by and I decide to DM him. Oh my gosh, that's so ballsy. I don't want to say ballsy anymore. Clitty? That's super clitty. Anyway, after all of that, a few months go by and I decide to DM him. My first message was, are you gay? Getting straight to the point, because one of his profile pictures was a recreation of one of the Brokeback Mountain photos, and he replied with, who are you, LOL? Wow, that's rich. That is rich. Anyways, he found out who I was, and he said he wasn't gay. So, okay, queer baiter IRL, because I was for sure baited. We actually talked for like 2 hours after, but nothing came of it, sadly. Still very much in love with him. Anyway, love you, Icon. You're my favorite YouTuber forever. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much. And also, I'm not so sure you were queer baited. I think that you were mistaken, and that can happen. Sometimes when I would see a woman and she had short nails, you know, Doc Martens, kind of, you know, eccentric glasses and something like that, I'm thinking to myself, there's an alarm kind of going off there, right? But if that woman happens to be straight, I wouldn't say she was queer baiting me. I would say that that's unfortunate. But I do have to say, I respect the fact that you followed him. He never followed you back, mind you. Months later, DMing him out of the blue, are you gay? I think that's wonderful. And I think that's wonderful. You should really be on the front lines of Rainbow Road, because I would never be so bold as to do something like that. Okay, this one. I would scroll on Instagram Reels with the sole purpose of finding a reel I think she would find funny so that I could send it to her. That's real. I would do this constantly and still kind of do, just because I want to talk to her and I want to keep our chat at the top of our screen. Aw, that's sweet. That's cute. I used to do that as well. I would literally type in WLW or like Walla Walla onto TikTok and just scroll until I found one that I thought was, you know, flirty but not U-Holly. And then I would send it in this sort of way of, you know, oh, look at this gem that I stumbled upon, as if I was just not, you know, in the coal mines for 6 hours looking for said gem. Especially in the beginning, like talking stage of a relationship, it can be hard. It can be hard because sometimes even just one extra word in the caption of, you know, some sort of relatable TikTok can change it entirely, and it becomes too, you know, too much to send, right? There's a difference between I like you and I really like you. And, you know, finding the perfect reel or TikTok to send to a romantic prospect, that's a skill. That's a skill, and they should start teaching that at least in community colleges. Okay, this one, I read ahead and I'm scared. I let him insert his long and yellow nails into me so that he wouldn't get sad. On a completely unrelated note, I then realized that I was demi and pan after that. Totally. Now I'm thinking about Wicked with that yellow brick road. That's young and long and yellow as well. And let's just say I would rather be spending time there as opposed to with this man, right? Long and yellow. Long and yellow. Wow. You know, that's very gracious of you. I'm surprised you didn't look this man in the eye and say, keep those ears of corn away from me. If you have long nails and you're trying to do something with me, it's like, you just get that speculum away from me. I know that you've literally given me no other descriptor for this man other than the long and yellow nails, but because of the nature of long and yellow nails, I'm picturing literally like a troll, right? Like a bridge troll with long yellow nails who kind of drags it across the bricks of the bridge, and, you know, like suspenseful music starts to play when he comes on screen, and he goes up to the princess, the protagonist, who that might be you even, and, you know, says something about some sort of riddle, right? How many long and yellow nails does it take to make a woman orgasm? The answer is none. There should be none of that involved in a woman's orgasm. Next one. Wanted to make him feel funny, so I made myself pee from laughter. The joke wasn't even that good. Babe, you don't have to force incontinence to make a joke seem funnier. I think maybe you can just laugh. I mean, you really are going the extra mile. I'll say that, right? You know, if I was doing stand-up and I saw, you know, a puddle under somebody, I would think to myself, wow, I certainly had an effect on them, right? However, I do think that, is pissing yourself in front of your crush really, because that almost seems nightmarish for a lot of people, right? I don't think a lot of people, when they're thinking about, you know, courting someone for a relationship, or, you know, entering a talking stage, wanting to, you know, make that transition from casual to commitment. I'm not so sure urine is in the mix of that. Maybe for some of those TikTok love spells, urine would be involved, but if you're going about it in the more traditional route, I would say you don't have to pee on yourself. I would actually say it might even be frowned upon. You know, if I were getting to know someone and I told a joke and they literally pissed from laughter, would I like that? You know, I'm also wondering what the joke was, you know, because I'm just picturing, like, you know how people just make tiny jokes in passing, you know, Mondays, am I right? Something like that. And then and then this person bursts out in laughter so hard that now it looks like they need bladder training, right? Now it looks like they need to start doing Kegels on the reg. But, yeah, that's nice of you. That's nice of you. Ultimately, you were trying to show your affection. Is that a crime? I don't think so. It's not a crime, but it might have a little bit of a funny smell. My friend told me that she was really into birding, so I literally memorized every single bird call in the area and joined multiple environmental and bird-focused clubs and tried to start a combo with her by bringing up the type of bird singing outside. She liked baking, not birding. So from my understanding, okay, so your friend told you that your crush was really into birding, but your friend was mistaken. And then you got a degree in zoology just for it to amount to nothing. I see. But I appreciate the dedication. Like, that is so... And listen, Sometimes you might even find a newfound passion because yes, maybe this started as me just trying to get some Cucciana or trying to get some Dickinson, but now it's like, birds really are marvelous creatures, aren't they? You know, at the beginning of all this, I didn't actually give a shit about crocheting. I just wanted to have something in common with you. But now I could make a blanket big enough to cover the Empire State Building. But hey, now you have an excuse to get into baking, right? And also an excuse to reprimand your friend. Okay, next one. Before I get into this, I just want to say that your videos never fail to make me laugh. Thank you, thank you, thank you! This story was in 8th grade, so before judging me, please keep in mind that this was 5-ish years ago. Thank you for that notification. I'm American, so of course we had one of our annual bomb threats. No, literally just American things. Some kid wrote on the bathroom stall that he had one in a locker. Thank you for the kid, for the heads up, I suppose. And then we had to evacuate. I had a crush on this guy in my French class. Okay, bisous, j'adore. And for some reason, I was more worried about being near him than not blowing up. We had to take buses to the high school and sit in the auditorium, and the first thing I did was look for this boy so that I could use this as an excuse to sit next to him. So I secured the seat next to him. Another important detail is that we didn't have our phones. We didn't have time to grab them from our lockers. So I kept doing this thing where I would be like, wow, I'm so scared. I really wish I had my phone so someone could comfort me, and kept like subtly leaning towards him. His mom came to pick him up, so this only lasted for a few minutes. Anyways, this crush lasted about a month, so I didn't care that much. Also, there was no bomb this time. Love you, Emily. Well, I'm really glad that there wasn't a bomb that time, and I hope there's not a bomb at any given time, ever. So that's great. It sounds like a pretty classic crush scenario, right? What I will say is that, yeah, I mean, you maybe could have prioritized, you know, the idea of the bomb a little bit more, right? You know, if I were in school and they were, you know, sent out a text alert like, hey, there might be someone, you know, there's an active shooter in the building, I would have checked Snap Maps. And I would have looked for that girl's Bitmoji. But yeah, you know, they always say in moments of emergency, try to get close to your crush. And don't really consider anything else. That's my motto. This one says, I don't do down bad because I am already down. I'm not so sure what that means. But anyways, my story is that I confessed to a straight man because I was like, oh, he defo wants me. But nope, he was just being awkward because he was homophobic and not into me. Hashtag Delulu. No. He's like, this guy gets so nervous around me. That must mean that he wants me. Meanwhile, the reason that he's nervous is that he thinks that you might be contagious. Gay is a virus. This one says, oh wow. I allowed him to call me my little dove during coitus, and also dressed like a femboy for him. I'm a trans man. My little dove, my little dove. I guess that's nice. I think it would take me out of it a little bit. It would take me out of it a little bit. My little dove, right? My petite little pigeon. You're so, I was just about to say something really wild. Cut that. Cut that, cut that. After he called you my little dove, what you should have done right in his ear is go, oh my God, don't stop. I'm about to, oh my gosh, call back to the confession about birding, right? Oh my gosh, this guy, if both of you guys were into birding, you could get crazy with it, right? You could be doing the do, and then all of a sudden, you know, he goes, yeah, my dirty little red-breasted Thatcher. I don't know if that's a bird. And then if that bird has a very specific call, then you in response can be like, okay, there's not a red-breasted Thatcher, but there's a red-breasted nuthatch. A red-breasted nuthatch? That sounds like someone's nickname in college. Someone's nickname in college where I guess they maybe sunburned easily and like were a slut or something. All right, new confession. I, female, was 17, crushing on a 22-year-old. Okay, we were playing a soccer tournament in different teams. I fell to my knees the moment I saw her. When I added her to my Insta and got to talking, I showed my weird side by spamming her with memes, and she sent me a message the next morning saying, never do that again. Safe to say she had no interest in me. 5 years later, I still want her, bro. Yeah, good on her for not wanting you. Otherwise, that would be statutory. That would be a statutory. Her messaging you saying never do that again, I actually respect that. And you can like people your own age. I know it's 17 and 22. What is that? It's 5 years. It's nothing crazy, but it's just, you know, life phase wise. 17 is so different than 22. 17 is so different than 22. Like, even me thinking about someone in college, I'm like, hi, infant, how was the breast milk this morning? You know what I mean? So, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that she's not interested in you, babe. Okay? Yeah, you'll get over it, I promise. Okay. Next one. So, ... The crush started pretty normal, you know, finding his Insta and Snapchat, etc. Then I got weird pretty fast. I literally wrote an entire ass fanfic between us two. This was years ago, but it still makes me cringe. Okay, I mean, hey, you are a creative writer. That's okay. And sometimes it's okay to maybe do weird things in private as long as it's not hurting anyone else. Because we've all fantasized about our crushes, right? You know, there's always that thing of, you know, daydreaming about your crush, making up fake scenarios with you and your crush, and you're just documenting it. You're being a primary source as a historian, right? I don't think there's anything wrong about that as long as you're not, you know, you're being at least somewhat respectful. Is this kind of like a hashtag smut, hashtag mpreg thing? Or is this a what is that they say? Hashtag fluff, hashtag like romantic, hashtag, you know, caring for each other deeply in a way that is more intimate than you will ever know. Either way, it's like, who's actually gonna read it? You know, I'm assuming you're not pitching it to NBC, right? So I think you're fine. I made a private story with just her on it and posted a bunch of TikToks and stuff about relationships. I also made her think that I liked another girl, was touchy and flirted with her, so that she would get jealous. We dated for 2.5 years before she cheated on me, and I am now with the ex-GF of the girl she cheated on me with. That is so lesbian. She loved One Piece, so I watched the whole anime for her. 1,000+ episodes, by the way. It wasn't even that good. We didn't even end up together. Whoa. Okay. First of all, I haven't seen One Piece. I don't really know anything about it other than there's pirates in there. I don't know if it's good or bad. But what I do know is that it is Longoville Jones. And the fact that you watched all of that and you weren't even particularly enjoying it, that's endurance. That's endurance. That's literally me going on a run and hating every single second of it, but then being kind of like, oh, well, this is supposed to be like good for me. And this also isn't even good for you. So that just means you were all the more dedicated. Next one, I would send him those forms with stuff like, do you like me? Options. Monkey covering eyes emoji. Thanks. And then text stuff like, you know my answer? Oh. And I sent him a snap with one of those filters that are supposed to make you look like a doll, but they just make your face look triangular. That's so Chinese. And thought I'm Chinese. And thought I was cute. I understand now when he said he didn't like me. I see. You were sending him pictures of yourself where you were essentially recreating Timothée Chalamet. I think whenever I have sent this before in texting, it's a dark time. It's a dark time for me. It's almost a cry for help in a way. I don't know if that's how it is for you, but I'm sensing that it might be. But the good thing about crushes is that they come and they go, and some, yeah, they come. Oh, trust and believe they come, but you might not be experiencing any of that because it sounds like that he might not like you back. Okay, this one. Back around last year, I think I had a girlfriend on Discord, which is already bad enough. But sometimes she would ask me to send her voice messages of me meowing or doing weird shit like that, and because I'm so stupid and down bad, I actually did send them. I'm coming to you humbly on my hands and knees as a mere mortal. I have something to confess. I meow to my girlfriend. Oh! Oh God! I can't help it. It's a reflex. It's not me trying to be cute. It's the same thing as me, like, you know, coughing or sneezing. Sometimes you just have to meow. I meow to my friends as well, okay? Me getting like so defensive. But with that being said, here's the thing. I never want a documentation or historical artifact or something for the permanent record of me meowing for someone, especially in a romantic sense. Why do I feel like that's kind of more intimate than sex? Meowing in front of your partner. There's something, the bases are, I'm pretty sure I've written this down like for a yapping video before, but the bases are holding hands, kissing, making out with a little handsy, touchy-feely stuff, sex, and then meowing in front of your partner. And that's the truth. Because honestly, sex, pleasures of the flesh, it's like, sometimes you just need a warm body to get that done. No offense, right? But meowing and sharing that intimate connection of, this is my primal self, revealing myself to you. This is, you know, hints of going back through evolution, my animalistic instincts. I have to meow, I have to roar, I am woman, hear me roar. You can't do that in front of just anyone. Next one. I was convinced that I would be capable of looking sexy while scrolling on my phone in the hallway. So one day I put on a red leather jacket and leaned against the wall with one elbow and tried to smirk while looking at the weather app. That is so funny. Looking at your phone. This chance of precipitation. God, that's rich. Spoiler alert, I was not in her line of sight at all, and my teacher almost hit me with the door since I was standing right next to his classroom. I also had no friends in my class after this, but I didn't give up there. I tried to figure out which days she had classes on the same floor as me in order to keep leaning sexily against the wall every week. She literally did not see me a single time I did it, so I just looked like a smug idiot. The actual time she noticed me was when I had tripped and fallen on my ass at the train station. The crush turned out to be straight, so all of that sexy baby rock star action was in vain anyway. But if anyone is interested in leather-wearing hotties, let's just say they know who to call. This is really obviously performative. Where honestly, you're almost like a Phoebe Waller-Bridge in the way of being a one-woman show. I also am just obsessed with the idea of you smirking with a leather jacket, leaning against the wall, looking at the weather app. Like, I bet no one else in here knows what the UV index is. But I've definitely done something like that before. I remember that situationship at 19 again. Listen, guys, I'm over it. It just, you know, shaped a lot of my experiences romantically or whatever, so I always refer back to it. Now that I have the hindsight, it's honestly funny. But there was this, you know, lawn of grass next to the path where she would, you know, be walking to go into the direction of her class. And I would lay in the grass, and I would, by the way, during this era, I was a little bit more, you know, mask as someone like me can be, right? And I, you know, I had all my rings on. I had, you know, my leather, you know, this or that, and my big belt. And I would lean back here, and I would be, you know, reading my book. And while I was generally just having a good time, you know, sitting in the sun reading my book, my intentions were definitely, you know, I definitely angled myself in a certain way so that when she approached, she could only see the left side of my face. You know what I mean? All right, I think that I'm gonna make this the last one. And guys, I'm only halfway through the few that I chose to put in this you know, separate document. I have so many confessions. I can definitely make more videos like this if you guys like this. I think you do. I think you like, I've done videos like this before. I know that you guys like it. This is the last one. I would let my hand fall asleep and rub my head pretending it was her. When you're so down bad for a woman that you give yourself self-inflicted phantom limb. I have to say, it's very creative, it's resourceful. You don't really need anyone but yourself. I mean, if you wanted to get really serious about it, I'm sure you could, you know, wrap a tourniquet around your arm or something to cut off the circulation. But yeah, you know, while the rest of you are looking at their Instagram, what I'm going to be doing is perhaps causing myself bodily harm so that I can, you know, indulge in a figment of my imagination. But okay, that is all I have for you guys today. I hope you all enjoyed today's video. It's hot as balls in here. So once this ends, I'll be taking a little dip. And when I say a little dip, I'm just gonna probably be half naked in front of my air conditioner. Yeah, all right, anyway. I hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy the summer. I think that's it. I really don't have anything else to say. I'm sorry. Until next time.